connect the mines together for a lot of different reasons, for ventilation, so we get good airflow through here, and then also for water drainage and for safety. If you get trapped in one mine, well, you can walk out to another mine and get out on that other mine. And then sometimes the veins of gold go from one mining claim into the next mining claim, and so by just mining on that vein of gold, that connected the mines together. And you can actually walk from this Molly-Kathleen mine here in Cripple Creek to the Ajax mine in Victor, 6 miles underground through the mine. So there's thousands of miles of tunnels down here. It's easy to get lost down here. And this machine here takes anywhere from 80 to 120 pounds of air pressure for that to operate properly. So as we get down through here, you'll see that compressed air line. It's right beside the track here. And like I say, the compressed air comes down from the surface down that shaft. So that line right below your feet, that's water drain line here on the Molly-Kathleen. They built a little dam up on that 400-foot level, and that dam is built right into this tunnel up there, and it holds the groundwater back, keeps it from running down that main shaft, or that shaft to be a lot wetter than what it is. And so we have to drain that dam out once in a while, and so that water, it comes from 600 feet above us, and it drains down through that line, and we drain it back into the Gold King mine, and then it becomes their problem. So help me with your first name.
Meredith.
Meredith, that's a good name. I like that, Meredith. This water dripping down here, you may have noticed those 2 outhouses up there on top. Here we go, Meredith. We're doing good. We're heading back this way here.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. So Meredith, come on up here. This is a photo op. So what's your name?
Kira.
Come on up here, Kira. Help Meredith out. Start pushing, both of you. Just push.
Oh, push?
Yeah, come on,
All right.
push. There you go. Come. Oh, wow, look at that. Wow, good job. Let's give him a round of applause. You did really good. You did really good.
I got you.
I'm impressed. And I was being unfair to you too, because you were pushing that uphill. When we put this track in here, we put it in here on a 1% downhill grade to the shaft. So when you have a full car of muck like this, where you're actually going downhill to the shaft, and then when you come back with an empty, where you're pushing up that 1% grade back into the heading of an empty car. And years ago, they used donkeys down on the mines to pull these ore cars around. And once they brought that donkey underground and they left them down here for mostly their entire life, they built a stall for them down here, brought their feed down to them and their water. And after a while, with the donkeys, would go temporarily blind down here from being in the total darkness all the time, and they ended up with arthritis and all kinds of different things. But anyway, Theodore Roosevelt, when he was president, he came out here to visit the mines, and he thought that was very inhumane treatment of the donkeys, and so he passed some legislation and had the mine owners taking the donkeys out every day for an hour of feed and sunshine. And that was quite a hassle, hauling those donkeys up and down that shaft all the time. So they finally gave up on that, and they came up with what we call an air tram. It's like a little air locomotive, and it was used for pulling these ore cars around. And I'll show you one of those air trams back here in a little bit. But in the small mines, we still push these around one at a time by hand, 1 or 2 miners. And I should mention at today's gold price, the last time I checked, the gold was around $1,700 an ounce. But anyway, at today's gold price, if we can find a 1/4 of an ounce of gold and a ton of rock, we can make a profit at that. And so this is 1 ton of muck here, and this coin here, that's about the size of a 1/4 of an ounce of gold. And so if we can find that amount of gold in this 1 ton of rock, we can still make a profit. So, and that's a coin from Latvia. It's a brass coin. I wish it was gold, but it's brass. Let's see, what is your first name?
Shane?
Shane? Come on up here, Shane. I want to talk to you. You're only allowed 1 question, okay, on the whole tour, so I'll make it a good one. What is your question?
He wants to push it.
He wants what? Oh, you want to push it? Oh, yeah, go right ahead. Good. All right, yeah, go. That's a good question. Go ahead. All right.
What's this dusty white stuff?
Oh, I'm going to show you. I'll tell you. Just a second. Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
doing it. Come on, you can do it.
There. Moved.
Okay, come on.
You did it, it rolled down.
Yay.
You were trying to push it forward.
I know, but he
Those
obviously
old timers,
takes
they
it
wanted to get away
forward.
from those sledgehammers and hand steel, and so they came out with these pneumatic drilling machines, and these, of course, operate on compressed air.
Huh?
They work a lot on the same
like
principle, like a little jackhammer you see out there on the street. And so this machine is called a drifter. It's used for horizontal type drilling, and it's on this threaded screw type device that moves the machine in and out. And that threaded part of it is about 3 feet long. So with this machine, you did have to switch out the drill steel. You'd start off with the shortest one there, where it called a starter steel, and you drill the hole back in the rock 2 foot deep, and then you switch to the 4 foot steel, drill it in 4 foot, and then you switch over to the 6 foot steel and drill it in 6 foot. So when you're finished, you have a hole about 1 inch in diameter and 6 foot deep. And this is a really old machine. It's very heavy and awkward. It weighs about 200 pounds, and every time you want to drill a new hole, you have to move it up and down on that column and side to side. So it was pretty much a 2-man operation, but it sure beat using sledgehammers and hand steel. And I'll go ahead and show you the drifter, and this thing's loud too, so you want to plug your ears, but this is how we drill the holes, and it's loud. So, all right, here we go. That's enough of that.
That's not.
Anyway, it both hammers that drill steel into the rock and it rotates it, and it drills the hole out pretty quickly. And like I say, the purpose of drilling the holes into the rock is to load our dynamite in. And so this is called a round here. This is a 23-hole round. And the way this works is right here in the center. These 5 holes here are what we call a 5-hole burn, or what we call the cut holes. We always leave this center hole open so that when the dynamite goes off, or the rock has somewhere to break to. So these are the first 4 shots to go off, and they go off all at the same time. And after that cut goes off, well, there's a hole in the center of the rock here about 14 inches in diameter and 6 foot deep. And then once the cut goes off, these other shots start going off one at a time. Like these are called relievers. This reliever goes off and blasts rock into the center. This reliever goes off and blasts rock into the center. And they just keep going right and around there one at a time, breaking the rock towards the center. And down along the side here, these are called the rib holes. Across the top of the back holes. Through here, these are called knee holes. And on the very bottom, those 3 holes are called lifters. And after all these other shots get through going off, where that rock is broken up, a lot like the rock I showed you back there, and the lifters pick up all that broken rock and throw it out here about where we're standing. And a lot of people have never seen dynamite, but this is a stick of dynamite here. And dynamite is virtually harmless without a blasting cap, and so that's this little silver cap here. And so that's what's dangerous. That you take the blasting cap and you put it on the end of the fuse, and you crimp it on there with these pliers. And those old timers, if they didn't have a pair of those crimpers along, they take that blasting cap and they stick it in their mouth and crimp down on their teeth to make sure it stayed on. But anyway, you take the blasting cap and the fuse, and you put it in this end of the stick of dynamite, and this is called the primer stick. And that's the first stick of dynamite to go back in the hole. And then you put 4 or 5 other sticks of dynamite in behind that. And you take this loading stick, it's what we call a tamping stick, and you pack that dynamite in there really tight. Because if you don't pack the dynamite in, when the shot goes off with the dynamite, just flies in a hole, and it doesn't break the ground like it's supposed to. So you do have to pack it in there. Sometimes we'll even split this dynamite open so it'll pack in there nice and snug. And this fuse here, it burns a foot every 45 seconds, so you want to make sure those fuses are long enough so you get the heck out of here after you light them before the shots start going off. So on a round like this, where the fuses would be anywhere from 8 to 10 feet long. And the way it works is the shortest fuses are on those first 4 holes there, and those are all cut at the same length. And then after that, we start cutting the fuses just a little bit longer all the way around. And the longest ones are down there on the lifters. And so you light all 22 fuses, and you light them in a certain sequence. And once you get them all lit for this round, we would head back out by the main shaft, and we stand out there at the shaft and we count the shots as they're going off. We want to make sure that all that dynamite explodes before we leave the mine for the day, because if you end up with what we call a missed hole or a missed shot where one of those doesn't go off, and then you come in the next day or the next shift and you set up this drilling machine and you happen to drill into that live dynamite, well, you got to be really good at dodging rocks. So you just want to make sure that all the dynamite goes off before you head out for the day. And if you do end up with a missed hole or a missed shot, well, that's where the new guy comes in. So and so this is one of the more modern drilling machines here. This is called a jackleg. And the jackleg, it came out in the 1940s, and we still use these in the mines today. This is the Gardner Denver 83. It weighs roughly 85 pounds. One man can pretty well handle this machine on his own. And this operates on a telescopic leg. You can see how the leg extends out there. So with this machine, all you have to do is just put in one long drill steel, and you can drill the hole back, and they're 6 foot deep in about 2.5 or 3 minutes. So it's pretty quick. And our jack leg is broken down right now, so I'll have to do some sound effects. But now it sounds like that other machine. It's noisy. And then this is what a more modern round would look like. We were blasting down here today, and I've worked a lot of the old timers, my dad and all, and we did things the old fashioned way over there on the other side. But it's kind of the same thing here. You have this little short stick of dynamite here, and on the inside of that we place this time delayed detonator. And so these two, they still go to the very back of the hole. And then down on this bottle here, this is what we call Prel, and Prel is ammonium nitrate. It's a fertilizer, and you mix it with diesel fuel and it becomes highly explosive. It's the same thing they used in Oklahoma City in that bombing down there in Oklahoma City, unfortunately. This is your Prel bucket here. You fill that full of the Prel beads, and then this is the Prel gun. And under high pressure, that gun sprays that Prel back in the hole behind that primer stick, and it just packs itself in there nice and tight. So, And this is called a heading here. We work 2 minors to a heading, so you and your partner would work this together. And what you're supposed to accomplish down here in 8 hours is what they call a round in and a round out. And what that involves, and this is more like in the old days, but what that involves is when you come to work in the morning, there's anywhere from 15 to 20 ton of rock that's been blasted out from the night before. And so you shovel up all of that loose rock and you take it back out to the main shaft to be hauled up out of the mine. And then once you get all the loose rock out of here, where you set up this drilling machine and you drill out all those holes, and then you load the holes with the dynamite or the explosive, and right at the end of the day, where you set the dynamite off, and that is called a round in and a round out in 8 hours. So we would advance 6 foot ahead in the tunnel down here every 8 hours. People ask me what this white stuff is on the walls down here, and it snowed down here 3 or 4 days ago. It's magnesium sulfate, it's Epsom salt, so it's the same thing you take a bath in, and it just leaches out of the rock when the water and the air gets to it, comes out of the rock, and we actually recommend that you don't touch that, and I'll tell you why here in a little bit. But I'll let you know right away that this is a recording, but this is what it sounds like when the dynamite's going off, and it's not that loud, so it's not that bad.
Not that loud.
Go to what? He just did.
See it?
So this is if we were back at the shaft on this round,
Cool.
so you can count the shots as they're going off.
Wow.
And a lot of people, they think we lose our hearing from the explosives down here, but this is where you lose your hearing, is on a drilling machine or something. What is your first name?
Colin?
Colin, did you bring any matches with you? And I'll show you how the dynamite works. Do you have any matches?
You took a boot.
Oh, you don't like to blow
Actually.
things up? Yeah, you do.
His brother was like, no, no matches.
You okay, babe?
Yeah, I actually may.
Huh?
I might have some. These are my scout boots, after all.
Oh, yeah. I forgot you might have,
I
matches.
I might. I'm not gonna take them out if they are. It does look like snow, though. It's really neat.
Snow, it's no physical